Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Branigan Communications Podcast. On today's show, Senior Account Director Ashley Robluski and Janet Rosh, Vice President of Strategic Content, discuss all things organization, bordering on obsession. We talk about lists and status updates and agenda items and sticky notes and clear pasta dishes, I think, were in there at some point. All of which to say, how do we stay organized during the day, at home and at work, and how can you find what works for you outside of Netflix shows? Enjoy the show.
I'm Janet Rosh. I'm here with Ashley Robluski. We're both from the Branigan Communications team. And today we're going to talk about organization. It's a topic I have very little experience with, Ashley, so I'm going to need you to help me along. Ashley wrote a blog for the Branigan Communications website, and she shared all her organizational secrets, or at least some of them. And we just want to get to know Ashley's secrets a little bit more in depth, and hopefully it can help people like me who need some help. Yeah. So Ashley, what inspired your blog? Let's go back to the beginning, actually. Have you always been an organized person, ever since childhood?
Yes, I've always been an incredibly organized person. And I actually read recently, so I've always said I'm OCD, but I'm not OCD. I read an article recently that there's another level called OCB or OCT, so you have obsessive compulsive behaviors or tendencies. So I've always been that way. Everything needs to have a place. Everything has to be a certain way. Always.
Okay.
Always.
So you were predisposed to this kind of behavior?
Yes.
Is there anyone in your family that you got this from? Are you like an anomaly?
I would say my mom was she even says today, like, she's a hot mess now, but she used to be way more organized and on top of everything. So probably from her. I know definitely my obsession with lists comes from her. Right now, at any given point, she probably has 10 different notebooks of varying sizes that she has different lists in and have different purposes. So that definitely comes from her.
Okay, so lists, that's probably a good place to start. You write in the blog that you make lists for everything. You have a master list and smaller lists. Tell us about your list.
So, and then I have lists for work and then lists at home. So I'm lists all over the place. But at work, specifically, I have a big legal pad that for all of my accounts, I write down all of my ongoing projects and all of my ongoing tasks. So I have the big kind of 500-foot view picture of everything going on. I narrow that down into smaller lists for the week, and then I also love little Post-it notes with daily tasks or immediate things that need to get done so I can rip them off and then throw them away as I get them done.
And how does that level of organization help you do a better job?
It really helps me to focus on the priorities while still keeping, like I said, the bigger picture in mind. So knowing that I have maybe on that larger legal pad, we have metrics at the end of the month. I'm not losing sight of that, but the report or the deadline I have today is top of mind with those Post-its, even in a visual way, because it's an orange sticky note that you have to pay attention to.
And how do you feel when you rip off that orange sticky note and throw it away?
Elated! It's the best feeling ever.
How many sticky notes would you say you throw away in an average day?
Depends on the day. I would say most days, probably like 3 to 5, depending what's on there, depending what the task is, what's going on.
Did you ever misplace your master lists or your smaller lists?
Never.
It never happened?
Never. It's actually right in front of me right now.
Oh, there's
another list on top of it. So,
all right. And so you feel like, what are the benefits to your job, the organization?
I mean, it probably sounds really cliche, but in communications, no day is the same. Everything's changing. We manage multiple clients. So being organized helps us to deliver quality work to our clients, keep us on task, and not miss anything, because really part of what you're judged on too is your timeliness and how efficient and how dependent and reliable you are. It's not just great work obviously matters, but it's also sort of those intangible things around it and getting it done. So organization is key.
It's a good point. You might be winning me over slowly but surely.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I'm a doubter in all these podcast interviews I do, but that's who I am, so that's okay. So who are your organization gurus? Who do you look to for inspiration?
So I'm going to get so judged, but I brought it up in the blog I wrote. Khloe Kardashian. She does not do it by herself. She has help, obviously.
People.
She has people. But if you look on her Instagram, she used to do, all the Kardashians had apps for a while. They've discontinued them, probably because they made them no money. But she would do a segment called Khloe CD. And she talks about, she shows you her kitchen and she has a closet just for her gym clothes. And they're all of her clothes.
Doesn't everyone?
Oh my God, they're color coded. It's heaven. It's nirvana. She showed her pantry. So I personally love that. I emulated my home after some of that and seeing that. It's pretty amazing. I would say she's top of mind.
So, side story, I did try to get organized once at home, and I bought those clear containers that you can put cereal and pasta and all rice, everything in there. But it's just an extra layer. It just, now I have all these containers, and I don't use them, and I just keep the stuff in their original packaging.
Well,
so,
you bring them to me.
Okay.
I also, so when we moved into our new apartment, I had bins for different things that would be out in closets that you could see, and my husband freaked out because I had to get rid of those and get all new white matching ones. They're all from the same line at Target. They're varying things. They're in our drawers. They're under the sink. They're in all of our closets to organize all of our stuff. So everything looks uniform and white.
I understand that.
Yeah.
From a home decor perspective.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, okay. So what else about organization? You work with a lot of people here at Branigan on your teams. Do you have organization seminars with them? Do you give them daily tips? I mean, how are you sharing your knowledge with everyone else?
I would say I don't if somebody asks me, like Emma comes to mind. I've supervised Emma since she started here, and she actually she uses some of my list taking stuff. She uses her Post-it. She's got her master list. And she said, she's like, I've taken that from you. So that makes me feel good. I can pass on some
She does good work and doesn't miss deadlines, so I guess it's working.
Mm-hmm.
So who's Marie Kondo if someone isn't in the organization world as you are?
So Marie Kondo, she is from Japan, and she wrote this book a few years ago all about how to tidy up your life. And so obviously it's this whole idea of a cluttered space leads to a cluttered mind, and we need to find our zen and our joy from having a tidy space. So now she has a Netflix show, because Netflix is on top of everything. So she has a Netflix show where she's going into people's homes. I think it's 6 to 8 episodes, and helping them organize their life, and it's called Get Tidy with Marie Kondo. And she's really sweet. She has this really little tiny voice, and she kind of throws some shade at people sometimes when she's helping them organize their house. So her whole thing too, which this cannot always be applied to work because there are tasks we sometimes don't like to do, even if we love our jobs. You're supposed to take an object, and you're supposed to think about if it brings you joy, and if it doesn't bring you joy, discard.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. All right. That makes sense. Is your secret fantasy to be her? Get your own show?
That would be great. If Netflix listens to the Branigan podcast, they can call me up. Rabluski at Branigan.biz. So, yeah, that would be great. I would love to do that. Maybe in another life, I should have been a life coach or an organizational expert or something. I think that's very intriguing.
All right. Interesting. We'll keep our eye on your rise to success. So in the blog, you give people 5 tips on how you keep yourself organized. And we talked a little bit about your lists and decluttering, but can you just go over those 5 things briefly and share a little insight about them?
Sure. So number one, we talked about a little bit, write it down. I think I do put things on my phone, but it's always backed up with I have an actual planner for my everyday life. And then obviously the lists we've talked about. I think just as soon as you know you have something going on, write it down. You won't lose it. Distilling it down is the second one. So that's, again, taking the big macro of everything and distilling it down to the micro. So you're not losing sight of all of the things you have to do, and you're distilling it down to the priorities, and you're not feeling as overwhelmed too when you do it that way. Putting things on your calendar ASAP. As soon as I know that I have an appointment or we're going on a trip or I have a flight or something, I put it on my Outlook just so it's on there. It lets my team know if I'm going to be out of the office or I have an appointment. So you're not losing track of it either, and the days it doesn't sneak up on you and you're like, oh no, I forgot I had to do this today. Declutter your workspace. So this is the Marie Kondo. Again, cluttered. When your space is messy, you just feel more stressed out. So right. I think we actually put a picture of my office of my desk on Instagram once, and it's like everything has its specific spot. And I do this at home too. I can't stand it when Steven leaves things out on the kitchen counter. I'm like, everything has a home.
Right.
You need to put everything back. So same thing, whether it's your cube or your office or you have a work table station, make sure everything has a place. And then last one is just get rid of it if you don't need it. I think even with email and our phones and Dropboxes, I'm still guilty of printing things off because I like hard copies, obviously, because I like writing things down too. But I think that it's wasteful sometimes when we keep things more than we don't. I actually threw a bunch of stuff away yesterday. So get yourself a nice file system. At your office, a lot of times they give you one. I have one on my desk that Julie gave me. Get some folders. If it's something you're going to need long term, so I think specifically for the jobs we do, if it's, background information, or it's a certain piece of collateral a client made, or maybe it was a strategic plan or a booklet, something nicely designed, those are things you keep. But if it's the status report from last week, you could probably toss that once you've gotten all the information you need from it.
You mean recycle?
Recycle, yes.
That's what I thought.
Not recycle. We should all have recycling bins to do all of that.
Yeah, so you brought up an interesting point about using your phone or, your computer to, have reminders for future events and such. But it's the physical act of writing things down that, really keeps you on track, right? I mean, they kind of work together, I imagine.
Definitely. And it's, there's something about, I don't know, again, I get this from my mom. There's just something about physically writing something down on a pretty notebook or a planner with a really great pen that you love. I'm really picky about pens too. That I think it just it helps, it sticks in your mind more. I think if I can see I have this appointment on the 21st of March, writing it down.
Am I keeping you from an appointment?
No, you're not.
Okay.
No.
Okay,
I'm going to a movie later, but that will be done before that.
Okay.
But see, I know I'm going to the movie at 7:00 because I wrote it down.
True. I like to just challenge myself mentally by trying to remember everything without writing it down.
But we can't do that, Janet. Life is so busy.
But I feel like it keeps me mentally sharp. Like, I remember on April 8th, I have to do this at 5:30 p.m.
But you could write it down, and then it sticks in your mind, and that's keeping you sharp, too. You're recalling what you wrote down.
I know I have a haircut next Friday at noon. I got it up here. I don't need it written down.
But then what if you've got a haircut at noon, you've got to go to the grocery store at 1, you've got this at 2, you've got this at 3, 4, things are overlapping.
Actually,
it's crazy.
When am I going to get my work done if I go to get my haircut and then the grocery store and then run errands? That's not
See, you need
feasible.
To write down you need time for work.
Right. All right. You got me there. So, all right. I mean, I see some benefits to it. I'm sure most people have their own system, right?
Yes.
Usually they're not as thorough or complex as yours, but it seems to work for you.
Yeah. Everybody's system should work for them. I'll tell you a quick story because I don't know how much time we have on this. So
we have until 7:00.
Okay, great. Perfect. I'll let everybody know. I started at my first internship after college, and there were 2 girls who had been interns before me, 2 women. They had gotten hired on, and they had both done a project that I was inheriting. And both of them told me completely different ways to do it. Mm-hmm. And one of them was my supervisor, and she said, this is how I typically do it. This is how this other girl does it. Just kind of see what you think. So this other girl sat me down. She walked me through it, and I knew right away, absolutely not. I can't do it that way. I'll be way too stressed. I'm going to do it this other way. But for her, she still got that project done every week. She still did a great job. So it's just your work style, your organization style. It's really personal. And as long as you're getting your stuff done and you're doing a good job, that's all that matters.
That's true. That's true. I have a story about that as well. Every intern that we have here at Branigan inherits the intern book. So mm-hmm. It's a list of all the job duties of an intern, special things they need to know, different clients, things like that. And every single semester, at the end of the semester, the current intern says, I want to redo the intern book because there's stuff in there that I needed to know and it wasn't in there, and I think I can be more helpful for the next intern, which I say go for it. That's a great idea. But if every single person has a different way they want to communicate that information or what they think is important. So I just find it kind of humorous that, and good that they take ownership over helping the next person out. But that's to your point of everyone has a different way of doing things for sure.
Absolutely. And I would say our interns, they get things done. Mm-hmm. They get good work done. So it's just whatever way works for them.
Right. All right. So, I mean, I'll try it. I'll try to incorporate some
try
new
it
ways.
Out. See what happens.
But we'll report back at some point, a follow-up organization interview.
We'll see Janet's progress report on organization.
Don't hold out too much hope. But well, thanks, Ashley, for your time.
Thank you.
And your insights.
Absolutely. Happy to share.
Enjoy the movie.
Oh, thanks. It'll be great.